Oh, gotcha.
Welcome, everyone, to Star Trek Lexington Last of the Line. Hi, Chris.
I'm back. Calvo's ready to here to
Yay.
save the day.
Something like
Uh,
that.
yeah, so I'll have to, pretend I know what happened in the last 2 weeks because I didn't get a chance to look at any recordings or
Well,
anything.
last
Don't
week
worry,
was
I wasn't. Yeah.
last week was completely a flashback dream sequence by Eric, so that had nothing to do with you or anyone
Oh,
else. Although that
perfect.
was a hell of a lot of fun. And
Awesome.
the week before, while you were off doing Genzite stuff, there were some. Hey, Fish, you want to fill them in on the nonsense you were doing?
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
So it started with us attempting to do some brain wrenching, and it
Why
ended
were
with
we attempting the brain wrenching?
because we needed information um about the Reds because there's a whole thing about needing denzite coils. I think we were still like trying to figure out what we needed those for.
Mm-hmm.
My brain's kind of mushy about it now, but we tried getting like for some reason we were still planning on heading to Gehenna. Um, and so we were like, hey, let's do some brain wrenching on these guys. And so we attempted it multiple times and kept failing. And then we are like, okay, that's not working. So we went to and then I think it ended with us like trying to do some sort of appointment. Like we had like a meeting or something with someone. It's my brain's mush.
So let me fill in the gaps. By the way, hi Tim. Um, so the what we were trying to do is connect to the red computer core that we got from the damaged ship.
Yeah,
And we were attempting to use the red corpses that we had acquired in order to access it. Basically, use one of them as like a go-between.
turned
Uh,
out most of them weren't corpses.
yeah, you resuscitated one or two of them. Actually, no, one of them.
The unpaid interns did, and then they
Yeah,
also killed two others
yeah, and another one
or one
we
other.
don't know what happened. So, yeah, you also wound up giving a Vulcan crew member some severe trauma, but most likely that they'll be dealing with for a long time.
Oh,
Uh,
boy.
tried to mind meld with one of the Reds. Actually, two different ones. First time didn't go great. Second time it went really not great. So,
But if we all did it together, there would have been a higher chance of us succeeding, probably.
and a chance of everyone getting knocked out altogether. which is what
Maybe, but no risk comes without it. No reward comes without its risk.
I mean. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You can't defibrillate a planet without breaking a few ethical rules.
So it basically went as I would have fully have expected it to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was the fish episode. While you were off doing your thing. So at the end of that episode, which we will get to in a bit, there was a distress call that came in from Teyvar, the planet that came through the wormhole with us. The details of which were not revealed at the end of the episode because cliffhanger.
Ooh.
And I was not there for that. Like the following episode.
Well, the
last week.
following episode was the only person there was Eric, so we just did a flashback to like a few years earlier. His involvement with Darkwater, some details on that. That was fun. That went way better than I expected it would. So yeah. So what we're gonna pick up with now is, as Chris has been gone for a little bit, let's. So last we had Chris. He was attempting to manufacture artificial densite, if I recall correctly, right?
That does ring a bell, yes.
Does. Okay.
That we were like trying to. I thought we were trying to take the old densite and repower it, and that worked or something.
Yes. What was gonna happen is try to sequence artificial densite, the material, and then see if you can leach the radiation from the old densite scraps to the artificial densite. That's
Okay.
the one thing the replication process cannot replicate is the radiation. But if you're able to like irradiate the artificial densite, you might be able to make it work. But that's what the rolls are going to determine here.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Chris. So if I recall correctly, now refresh me. Were you going to the station to do this, or were you going to do this on the ship?
If I remember, if I remember correctly, I was going to start on the ship.
Okay. Right. Let me pull your sheet up. Let's see how we're going to do this. Now, unfortunately, considering I got in from my drive like an hour and a half ago, I have not had a chance to actually. Should have done it sooner, but I didn't make any fancy sheets for this. But this isn't a technical manual sort of thing. This is a go by the seat of your pants, oogie boogie science sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. All right, let's look at your sheet, Chris, and see what skills you have that would be useful in this, in trying to fabricate a material. Because the way replicators work is it's not just like a scan, like a copy paste sort of thing. You have to actually program and sequence the whole thing in. And this is the test to see if you're even able to do that.
You must create a new element, just like Tony Stark.
Well, I do have geology. I don't know if that would help.
It could, for a basic understanding of the structure of it, but as far as sequencing it goes, that is a different thing. So this is going to be basically two parts. Part one is learning and understanding yourself, the sequence, the structure of it. Part two is successfully inputting that into the replicator. So geology would help with part one, I believe.
Okay.
Let's see,
I don't. There isn't replicator technology. If I
no,
remember
we are
correctly.
going to do computer operation for that one when we get to it. All right. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, honestly, I can't think of anything else you would do except for just intelligence and geology based on what I'm seeing on your sheet here.
Yeah, I personally can't think of anything else that even comes close to that.
Yeah. All right. Well, looks like you're going to be rolling. Let's see. half of 92. That should be a 46, unless my math is awful.
That sounds. I'll trust your judgment. I think that's good.
Okay.
Let's see. And 71. Dang, damn it.
Well, unfortunately, so densite is a very complicated structure in the first place. It's got extremely unique elemental properties. It's nothing. You've seen nothing like it in the Milky Way galaxy. So first of all, you're starting from a disadvantage there as far as understanding it. But the main issue is trying to understand the way that the lattice structure works that will hold the unique radiation that densite has, and you just can't put 2 and 2 together to figure that part out.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
All right. Now, good news is you also have the guy down on the station who's trying it too. So let's see if maybe he has better success with it. Now, he's been working with it longer, so he definitely would be closer. So he's actually rolling against a 60. So this is, what was his name again? I wrote it down here somewhere.
Wasn't it like it was like something to do with shapes almost. It almost sounded like geometry or angle. Was it
Dr.
like
Engels.
something?
Yes, Dr. Engels.
Angle.
Oh,
Thank
good
you.
memory, man.
Yes.
No, I remembered botching his name because it sounded like so I just have this picture of like a kind of ruler in my head. I'm like, has to do with angles, and I was like, there it is.
All right, so let's see if Dr. Engels has any better luck. Got to beat a 60. Oh, Dr. Engels has 97.
Get out of here! You're not a main character.
No.
Well, at least I did
Can't
better than
fix
that.
problems.
Yeah. So, it looks like, at least for the moment, you're stumped. As far as understanding exactly how densite works structurally, let alone how you'd even start to program it into a replicator.
Looks like Dr. Engels got really bent out of shape on this one.
Oh boy, he's a square man.
Zack Thunder
Yes.
puts on sunglasses.
Yeah, that's a very obtuse thing he did. So, okay.
I can feel the dad joke circling.
Yes. Yes, they are. Although the only dad in the group has not offered one, and I'm surprised.
They usually
I
don't.
barely said anything.
That's the thing. You haven't said anything. I'm amazed.
First, I find it really funny. Like, it's just a character thing, but it's like our resident diplomat has only said one word, and it's like I didn't say it. It's so funny. It's a very subtle comedy thing to me.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had any diplomatic needs as
Oh, yeah,
of
no.
yet, so
You can't
Tim,
really.
Tim
And
jumps in at the perfect time with the perfect script.
Can't
But yeah.
negotiate with densite.
Oh
why
I
won't
can
you
try.
yeah.
I mean, I don't. You have any roles that would
Charisma
require,
roll.
like,
Remember,
elements.
it's not negotiating with the densite. It's negotiating with the computer to get densite.
well, you're
That's an
not even
important
to that point.
distinction.
Well, this is negotiating with a densite to understand how the hell it works. You've not even got the computer yet.
feel like I'm Happy
Can I
Gilmore
make-
yelling at the golf ball?
Can I make meat densite? Can I just make a new type of meat that substitutes
No.
densite?
We're not going there.
What, we can't have meat bone batteries charging?
No.
This isn't the Matrix.
Not yet. It isn't.
Oh.
I see where you're going.
The night is young, Chris.
True.
We got a
We're
whole
only
planet of
15 minutes in.
psionic batteries, in my opinion.
We're only 15 minutes in, and
The night is young and the GM is tired. God only knows what's going to happen.
Speaking of, I will probably have to move locations at one point because I'm in the room that my brother is sleeping in while my kids are sleeping in his room. So when he goes to go to bed, I'll have to move.
Well, we will miss you in your absence. How brief.
Well, no, I'll still be here. I just
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then we won't miss you at all.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so Chris, I'm going to put this in your court. Got any other bright ideas, other things you might want to try? Because I don't want to shut down the Calvo segment immediately, like keeps happening.
Yeah. I think last episode we tried to compare it to anything else that's already existing.
And there's nothing remotely similar.
Nothing. Let's see. Is there any like like notes I could like research I can look at that might give me like a hint, maybe
Well,
from the planet or well, not from our records, obviously, but maybe. Basically, long story short, is there any kind of like research notes I might be able to dig into?
well, the only research you've gotten the research notes that you from Dr. Engels that he was also working from that didn't get you far enough down the road to figure that one out.
Is there any chance that we each did a roll solo? Is there any kind of way we could try it like to like a combo, like the supporting role kind of thing? Or is that already passed?
Well,
Like basically we team up and
if
two
you
heads are
want
better than one.
if you want to call down to the station and say, "Hey, I didn't have any luck. You want to take a crack at this together?" Sure, I can allow that.
I'm gonna do that. I'll call down to Dr. Engels, ask him how Laura is doing, and then see if he wants to collaborate on the Denzite research.
Laura?
Laura Engels from I think it was Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's me showing I never that show was old when I was young, so
Yeah, that's prehistory at this point for me.
mhm.
Okay. He's gonna say, I'm not sure who the hell Laura is, but yeah, I've also hit a dead end as far as trying to make this something you can work with. Why don't you bring your notes down and let's take another crack at it together.
I'll say sounds like a good plan, and I'll grab everything together and head on. We don't have any resident like geology experts on the crew that I could bring with me, do we?
Why don't you roll luck to see if you do?
Wait.
You got to beat a 30.
Ah,
There are not, sadly.
oh, at least it wasn't a 90.
Oh, there
think
used to be, but they died during the whole,
Oh.
whole thing.
Wait.
So,
They're space
Wait.
particles.
well, no, they kind of got smushed into a bulkhead. So,
Ooh,
Wait.
tough way to go.
it's one of the ones fish couldn't save.
Oh, fish.
I tried. I put a bit of effort in.
What is this dendrite all about?
Denzite, were you in that?
Denzite?
Were you in that? You may not have been in that session, Tim.
I don't recall.
Is
This is the
geomorphology relevant?
This is the material that the wormhole device requires to function. And the Cochrans have none left after they have put the last of it into the machine to repair it after the whole incident that got us over here. It burned out like half the circuits of Denzite. And so they've had to replace all those circuits, or we're replacing it with what Denzite they have left. And so this is a contingency plan. If those get burnt out, they have no more Denzite. So
Right.
the options are apparently either A, manufacture Denzite, or B, have to go to the only place known they can get it, which is a planet currently controlled by the Reds.
So this won't help with actually like plugging the chemical compound into the computer. But you may recall that my entire build is around translating different technologies and materials between cultures.
Okay.
That's the diplomacy is actually just kind of accidental because I do that. I've been put in the diplomatic corps, but that's why I'm an engineering build. So would I be allowed to use astronautics and intelligence to just help them
Well, it's
bring the notes together to help them kind of translate all these disparate notes that they have?
Well, astronautics is more for like spaceship design.
Yeah, it's the stuff that they use to like get moving and be in space.
This is more like a battery sort of, not even a battery. It's a radioactive material, so it's not used in starship construction.
You know who might understand a lot about the material? Denzite?
Who?
The Reds. and Tim did say his character is really good at translating language, like different technology. So if the Reds know how to use Denzite, and our scientists need to know. If we all got together and we went we mind synced up together and went into a Red's brain, we might be able to pull out some data.
Oh,
So
the counterpoint. Sorry, Tim.
the reason I pitched astronautics is that I figured energy sources would be covered under that type of thing, like because not everyone uses dilithium. So how do we so like that type of thing?
Let me look at your sheet real quick. So to your thing,
Red
Fish,
brain.
the unfortunate thing is while this is happening with Chris, you are presently trying to lobotomize indirectly a Vulcan. So this is stuff that was
Well,
happening at the same time.
I didn't try. I was trying to. The only thing I made. Well, I made two things, but I made for him the safety thing that prevented him from being lobotomized.
Yeah, like I said, it would not be helpful for the later stages, but if it gives them a leg up to proceed to the later stages,
Yeah,
then maybe.
that is a completely valid point to make. Let me look at this.
The efficiency boosting
Because you
intermediary.
probably have something that would help. Maybe if not that.
I'm slightly hopeful it's that, because if it's that, I'm rolling against a 65.
Yes. No, it's 66.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Well, 66 is my astronautics,
Oh,
63 is my
right.
intellect.
Gotcha.
So the average comes out to 65.
Gotcha. Let's play the semantics game. Let me look what the definition of astronautics is and see if I can slide it in there. Astronautics definition. The science and technology of human space travel and exploration. That's broad.
Yeah, it is.
What are you good at? Everything.
This one is the science of the construction and operation of vehicles for travel in space beyond the Earth's atmosphere. That's what I was thinking it was.
Right.
Space technology.
Well, not even space technology, spaceships, vehicles
Yeah.
in particular. And this doesn't count as a. Honestly, this is more. Astrophysics would help better than astronautics because.
Do I have astrophysics? Oh, I don't.
I know. I do have astrophysics. I have a 20 in it.
do.
No, you do not, unfortunately, Tim. You got astronomy, astrogation, astronautics. Yeah, mechanical engineering doesn't really help because this isn't a mechanism; it's a rock, a glowy rock.
Listen, I can't pitch you the entire time I'm playing.
I know.
I know you're not used to. I know you're not used to having any attention at all, but
Somehow I thought you were talking to me saying you can't pitch me the entire time I'm playing. Never mind.
no, I was talking about this out here, dog.
Gotcha.
Aw.
Little doggo. It's adorable.
Oh. As much as I wish I had you had something here that works, Tim, I don't think you really do.
Okay. Well, I just thought I'd try.
No, please try as much as you like. That's totally fine. You might as well throw it at the wall and see if anything sticks. So, all right. So back to what we were. All right. So, Chris, would you like to be the one assisting Dr. Engels, or would you like Dr. Engels to assist you?
I'll try to. I think he's got a better chance than I do, so I'll assist Dr. Engels.
Okay. So that means go ahead and roll against a 46.
Well,
Okay. So that gives Dr. Engels a 75.
come on, Dr. Engels. Don't roll like I usually do.
This is why he is the protagonist.
NPCs.
That's an NPC roll.
They're not protagonists. They don't have the ability. They're not allowed to succeed.
Yep. Okay. No, at this point, unfortunately, you don't have. Yeah, you've not made any progress on making this into something that can be programmed into a replicator. Like, he understands the structure, but he does not understand it in a way that he can translate to you to fabricate.
To put it in, yeah.
Okay, how about if I re-pitch my idea to do a brain adventure?
You're busy right now.
Okay, I know, I'm just saying, but if it comes around to it, we could sedate one properly, like fully, and then we have a fail safe that if we don't get in and out within like say 3 hours, we get booted out, you know?
In and out. 3
It
hours.
has, yeah, in a
Yeah,
3-hour adventure, in and out. Come on.
Calvo's not too. Yeah, Calvo wouldn't be too keen
20
on
hour
being
adventure,
in
come on.
somebody's mind.
Unfortunately, we don't have the captain here to veto.
We'll be
it,
there
which
like
is
as a
bad.
group.
We really need the captain.
Yeah, we'll just let the fish ramble on.
Well,
We'll
I'm
set
just
a
saying,
set a-
No, he doesn't know that this is happening, though. So
This is true.
Good point.
Neither do I, though. You'd have to like come and ask for help. But
Any other options? Trying to think.
Dun, 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 dun.
I can't think of anything else I want to try at this point.
All right. Well, so you've spent quite a bit of time working on this. And about the time when your most recent attempt doesn't succeed, uh, you're going to get a message uh, from the captain, actually.
no. You're not gonna do that.
Oh,
That's not how we're gonna play this. Go lay down.
so you're going to actually, all the senior staff's going to get a message from the captain uh, saying that you have just gotten a distress call from Teyvar, the nature of which you are not sure of at the moment. So, uh, asking everyone to meet on the bridge.
Calvo will beam back up to the ship and we'll head to the bridge, see what's going on.
Before you leave, Dr. Engels will tell you, well, that sounds important. I'll keep poking away at this, but I'll give you I'll send you a message if I'm able to make any progress. But we'll see what we can do because we're too close to something big here to give up on. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'll keep thinking about other options myself.
Sounds good. Thank you for your assistance, sir. Good luck out there with whatever the hell this is.
We'll find out.
Right. So, everyone has been summoned to the bridge, including Fish and, unfortunately, Eric is unable to make it. Yeah, Nakamura is indisposed. How?
Food,
I don't know. They didn't think to
food,
write that
food,
into the plot.
food poisoning again.
The most vicious claimer of souls.
All right. So, you're all to the bridge. So, Crystal is going to be there. And he is going to tell you that they just got an emergency communication from Teyvar that
They're out of chicken wings.
no, it seems that the planet is in a decaying orbit.
So there is bad space problems.
There are bad space problems today.
Wait, decaying orbit around what?
Remember, Teyvar, when it came through, it was just by pure happenstance, it wound up in the orbit of a star. Yay!
Right.
It's a decaying orbit, not yay. They figured out. It took them a few days to do the telemetry and realize, oh no, we're closer today than we were yesterday.
I'm concerned about their location. I meant to mention before.
Do they know how long they'll how long it'll be until they, I guess, crash or burn up or.
They are still working on that. It doesn't. Well, apparently it's not imminent, but they're on. Apparently, you're on the clock as far as how long you can wait until bad things start happening.
Oh
They
boy.
want you to come back because all the Archons would love to have a conversation about this because this is kind of important.
Okay, guys. What we gotta do is we have to take the planet and push it somewhere else.
Damn it! Patrick.
We just solved the issue.
Easy peasy.
So, help me understand something real quick, if you don't
Yes.
mind. So, Teyvar, on the map that you sent us, Teyvar is like right next to Terra 2, right?
Yeah, that's like a. Gosh, that's like 1 light year. I can't. I have to look.
It was 4 days travel. I remember that.
4 day travel going there, or 4 days travel. Yeah, 4 days travel from Teyvar originally with the Cochrane, right?
Right.
Okay.
So these ships that attacked us
Uh huh.
were like 2 or 3 months into enemy territory.
Okay.
Um, have we contacted Stalingrad or Starbase Felix or Starbase Elizabeth or Starbase Hope, any of them, to see if, because they should be, those ships should be like passing near them in like a week
No
or
one
two.
has thought to. And actually, it was only one ship left, the cloaked one.
Right, yeah. So like it's going to take them like 2 or 3 months to get out of our space. It's going to take them another probably 2 weeks to get to any sensor range of any of the star bases. Like, can we be doing something to watch for them leaving with our command crew?
I mean, you can absolutely request that. Send that up the flagpole and see what they do with it. No,
I would
that
definitely
request
like
has
to do
not
that.
been made yet.
I would definitely like to have been doing that in my downtime prior to this meeting.
Okay. All right. So how exactly would you go about doing that?
Well, I'm gonna contact. I guess my main point of contact is Captain Blevins,
Yes.
right? I'm gonna of the Cochrane. I'm gonna go ahead and let her know. Hey, oh, hey, we've been looking over. I've been looking over these maps of the region and everything, and it looks like the ships that attacked us were way in like months into a multiple months journey into here if they have technology equivalent to you. If they
Yeah,
have
they were long-range scouts, as best we can tell.
so they should be taking a while to get back. And the ship that took our command crew, is it possible that we can get the star bases that we have out in that direction watching for them?
Yes, although in the past they have definitely steered well clear of the star bases or anything that way. If it's one of the blue ships, it most likely has gone the long way around up towards. Let me pull the map up myself.
Was it a blue ship?
Yes, it was a blue,
Yeah, it was a blue cloaking ship, so that'd probably
blue.
be a bit of
Yes.
a yeah.
Let's see.
Or, but even if they take the long way around, we can contact Acheron well before they get there.
And yeah, the most likely they would have gone around Starbase Hope, give it a good berth, and gone about halfway between Acheron and Starbase Hope. That's generally where they have come from when we found them in the past, at least the blues. Now, that's a not insubstantial region of space, mind you.
Right.
We obviously
Yeah, I can see that.
they already trust me. There's already standing orders for any ships out there to be detained or hopefully not destroyed, but that's usually not the goal. I'd rather capture than kill, obviously. But um, And so yours with your command crew is going to fit on that list. Yeah, they know that there is a ship out there that has high value targets to be taken alive at any means necessary.
What type of now how much progress have you guys made at scanning for cloaked vehicles from the blue species? I don't remember what they're called now.
Basically, if we're pointing our scanner directly at them within about 20 kilometers, we can get a signal. Of course, stronger the closer it is, but our broad scans don't pick them up.
What type of signal do you get?
Generally, it is spatial disturbance. It's a spatial disturbance of any particles in the area, and just very faint traces of plasma exhaust.
If I
They've
I,
rigged them very well to give off minimal exhaust.
out of character, is it part of our records that because if I remember correctly, um, a few times we've been able to the Star Trek, the Federation was able to identify cloaked vessels by tachyon signatures.
Oh
If
yes,
I'm
that's.
is that part of the records that I have access to?
You know what? Let me check. I can't remember when tachyons were first used.
On a side note, just in case, that I did make the psionic tracking prototype that does pierce through cloaking. So we could probably try to give that tech to them to amplify it. Maybe they can make a. We can use a tech person to make a much more wide scale version.
That wasn't used until TNG era.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they made a tachyon detection grid. But yeah, that's like another
Okay.
60 years, 60,
But it was
65
all
years.
exhaust. It was the same thing that they're doing
Uh,
prior to that.
no. Well, apparently the tachyon beam, it was beams. Basically, like think like laser tripwires.
Well, no, I'm not asking for the TNG stuff. I'm asking at this point in the records that I have access to,
Mm-hmm.
is the methods that we're using to try to find Romulan ships similar to the methods that they're using to try to find these ships?
The whole tachyon thing wasn't invented until this episode. What has been
No, I
known?
know, but
Okay.
they no, I know. I said drop the tachyon. I'm saying the current systems
Mm-hmm.
that have been used to try to identify Romulan ships and have met with mixed results.
Mm-hmm.
Are they the same systems that the Cochrane, the Terra 2, is using?
Yes, they stumbled onto the same
Okay.
thing that happened in Star Trek 6, where they were able to track the cloaked bird of prey by tracking its exhaust.
Okay.
And that's what they've basically figured out here as well.
Okay.
So you don't have any methods that have been tried before at your disposal that they have apparently not already thought of.
Okay.
Let me do a little measuring.
And we could try. I could hand over the psionic tracker to Tim if you want to see if they can amplify it.
Wait, what?
Remember how I made the psionic amplifier or like the track the cloaked ship? Like
Oh, that
15
thing.
sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have it, and it worked pretty well. It just was like
You didn't
I
point it in
wasn't
the
able.
right direction.
Yeah, like I couldn't catch them where they were. Um, but it with all the successful rolls, it's supposed to work. And since it was like a prototype,
Yes. So
there's no
Tim, you would
reason
you
we
would be
couldn't hit
very
it.
well aware that he made that because that all happened during the fight when you were attempting to find the senior
Right.
staff. So you would know
Okay.
about this thing that he made.
Yeah. It's a shame because you know why tachyons weren't proposed in the original series,
Why?
because the first mention of them in a scientific paper was in 1967.
They didn't exist.
Gene Roddenberry didn't know about them yet.
Oh, the show. God, what year did the show end? I thought it ended in
Six.
69.
Well, it ran 60. It started in 66, and it had 3 seasons. So
Oh,
it came out. It came out during that time, but like, was Gene Roddenberry reading the hottest research in particle physics?
probably not.
That's like,
Probably not. He was too busy chasing skirts.
I don't think they became part of like a cultural understanding until probably the 80s.
Probably not. But that I have no idea. kind of, let's see, trying to figure out speeds on stuff. So okay. So what we
But yeah,
figured out,
I'll offer them. I'll offer them what Fish has and see if that would be beneficial at all.
she's
The
going
thing that
to say, well, that's new and novel. Yes, we absolutely would love to have this if you're willing to share.
it seems directly beneficial to us. Like I don't see why we wouldn't.
All right. Can you send me the complete data package and I will get it to the people that would need to see it?
I'll have to go get clearance to do that, but I'm sure I'll be able to.
Beautiful. All right. Ah, I knew this relationship was going to be mutually beneficial. All right. Anything else you need, sir?
Not now, thank you.
All right. Levin.
See, I will then. I'll probably be trying to contact Crystal when we get the call to go to the bridge. I imagine.
That timing works for me.
Oh, I was about to call you.
So we might be able to help them find our crew without us having to go do anything. That would be nice. Let's see. Trying to check one thing. I need to verify how far Teyvar. I know how far they are. I can just look at the freaking map. What am I doing? Because I don't think it was. I don't think it took 4 days for us to get from Teyvar to Terra 2. I think
I thought it did.
they're like almost exactly a light year apart, and according to the technical data that I made up because I had to establish warp speed.
6 hours or something.
Oh, was it hours, not days?
Yeah, well, it was one light. It would have taken a day because the maximum speed of the Cochrane is warp 7, which is 1 light year per day.
All right. Well, that's still like 30 days before they would be passing between Hope and Acheron.
Well, that's the speed of the Cochrane.
Yeah. Well, I
They
don't.
go
That's why I
fast.
said if their technology is equivalent.
Yeah. The one thing you do know about the blue ships is they are pretty damn fast. So
Speedy.
they don't know on the data sheet you have there. Actually, they don't know what their top speed is. They've been tracked going at least warp 8, however, which is the cruising speed of Lexington.
Right.
Maximum speed is warp 9.2. So if they're able to go warp 8, let me do a little
Don't.
measurement here. So they are going to have it's about 56 light years worth of travel if they take the long way around. At warp 8, that comes out to 2 light years a day, so half of 56, so that should be 28 days.
So a month.
Yeah, or just so exactly 4 weeks. And right now, it has been 5 days since we arrived.
Yeah. So even if they're going slightly faster, they won't have gotten there yet. We'll have time to do this.
That is quite likely. Okay. All right, so back to anything else before we circle back to Teyvar. Apparently, is going to burn alive.
Paired in with the blueprints and the actual prototype, there's also going to be a book called Fish Tech for Dummies.
Completely self-published.
Yes,
Like
and it's like the entirety is very.
the footnotes are 3 times as long as the actual text.
Yeah,
That sounds like how he would do it. Yeah.
it's like very condescending the entire way through.
Yep. All right.
Teyvar time.
Teyvar
Make
time.
it so.
All right. that is going to take. Let's see. All right. So at maximum speed, you could get back in 6 hours. At
Oh
cruising
wow.
speed, it would take 12. Like if you push it to warp 9.2, like the absolute fat, you can get there in 6 hours. Of course, that would be Crystal's decision. And
Yeah,
Okay, Chris. So just speak up if you don't want us to go at max
yeah.
speed.
but he's going to
Well,
say,
I think that answers it.
at the risk of blowing up the engines isn't worth 6 extra hours. So
Well, how fast is the planet descending?
it seems to not be that fast. It's not like they're imminently heading towards it. It's enough that
They,
they've been able to
they didn't
measure it
notice.
after 5 days, but they're still working on actual
So it's
measurements.
very much.
So
Is it
they're
like
gonna
the classic movie?
go ahead.
Sorry. I was saying it's like the classic movie situation where they say there's a meteor a month out. We know it's gonna collide, but everyone's well. I guess we just gotta. It's like that
If it took
situation.
5 days to measure like that much of a difference, then chances are their descent is going to take like 3 million years.
Oh no, global warming.
We're going to crash eventually. Okay, but
Unless they weren't thinking to measure, who knows? That's what you'll find out soon.
yeah.
All right, so 12 hours later, which makes this now a it is now November 24th, 2300.
I think
All right. So at this point, you get to the planet, and it's going to be all of you, and of course, all of the representatives from Teyvar. You're all crowded on the bridge. It's a big old party. Of course, Ki attempted to sneak in a bottle of something, and security had to take it away from him because that's just how he rolls. All right, you're there. Contact the planet. You're going to see your good old friends, all of the Archons, plus once again that really, really big member of the Heralds, who's now still standing in for uh, the Sazira.
I'm gonna just kind of lean over to Sora. He's like, it's kind of nice to be back on a planet where we aren't trying to be blown up.
that we know of, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the absence of a captain, and also I guess the head diplomat, this would be his thing too. So I guess this will be Tim's time to shine.
Vice Rice Captain because we got because we got Captain Crystal and then Vice Captain Hero.
Vice
so that
Captain.
means Vice Rice Captain Sorab.
Something like that. All right, so screen's going to come on, and so Rel Laris, the really tall, the tall guy, he's going to go. Okay, well, building is Lexington. I hear. So you know a bit about our situation.
We've heard of it, yeah.
Well, the short of it, which you probably know already, is that the planet appears to be in strange orbit. We're unfortunately not 100% sure how quick it is due to our limited technology. That and the fact we've been a lot more focused on stuff happening on the planet's surface compared to what's happening a few light years, however long that star is, however far it is from us. So our first request is that you help us figure out exactly what the rate of decay is so we can start figuring out what contingencies we may need to make.
Okay.
Probably not
That's-
fast enough to invent SPF 50 million.
No, it's actually a pretty simple calculation, based on the mass of the star and the current distance, and the speed of the planet, and the mass of the planet. If I remember correctly, it's Johannes Kepler figured out orbital.
Okay. So you're totally saying this in character.
Yeah.
He's going, I will take your word for it. While you're calculating, gosh, I gotta look up all the names again.
The problem,
The problem.
Tripper, is that we're going to need to know all of those numbers.
Well,
And I don't think you made them up yet.
Oh, look at that roll. 3 days, is it? We have 3 days to work with. Man, that was a crazy math calculation we did, guys.
The number does not depend on how you roll, because that would be absolutely stupid. It's a set number. It's just a matter of finding it.
Nice. It's just if we know the ballpark figure, if we have to guesstimate.
If you start throwing numbers out there, I'm going to say something that's going to make it to it's going to be like 3 days or like 8 trillion years. I couldn't even begin to do it.
I give us a month, tops.
All right.
And then, well, I wonder what does happen to a planet that gets thrown. Oh, would that create a supernova if the planet collides with the sun?
No.
It would just burn the planet up.
No, it wouldn't be enough. Okay.
Well, here's the thing, though. The question isn't how long until the planet hits the sun. Everyone on the
It's
planet
how
will
long
get long
until it
before
gets how long until it gets uninhabitable.
Yeah, no, that's the main thing. But I was just wondering, what if like the sun actually is close to going critical? That would be bad. But then it would have to turn into like a red dwarf or something.
Yeah. Well, because there's no way in hell I'm gonna be able to make those numbers up for you, and everything in this game comes down to die roll. This sounds like an astrophysics type.
Yes.
And guess who has astrophysics?
Is it Calvo?
Calvo.
Yeah. What can I do?
So you're going to be rolling against a 51.
51.
This is to do it purely through math. You can try through sensors as well. That's a whole separate thing. But this is to purely math it out. Now the question is, there's margin of error. Like, how do you weigh a planet? There's obviously the estimate.
That's actually pretty straightforward.
This is things that I don't know because I hate it.
It's just a measure of density and size at that point. Average density and size.
Ah, yes, good old square cube footage.
Yeah, so you figure out you look at the volume, you look at the average density, and then that'll tell you what the weight of the planet is.
Ugh. Yeah.
A ballpark figure.
I would have no idea in real life. So, all right, Chris. So, the 51.
51. Survey. What's that say? Survey says.
All right. The planet will become uninhabitable within 6 months.
Wow. That's
wow. We got plenty of time. Well, I guess uninhabitable versus a Mad Max style situation. So we know everyone will be dead in 6 months. When do we need to start?
Well, no. People don't. 6 months isn't the time when everyone dies. 6 months is when the extinction event starts. The mass extinction
in the interim,
starts.
it's going to start getting hotter, and things are going to start getting worse. So
it's going to get worse.
So Mad Max style in like 3 months, I'd say maybe 2. I'm just saying, if the sun's getting closer, whatever oceans they have are gonna start drying up. That's just gonna happen. Any Arctics are gonna start flooding, so there's probably gonna be tsunamis. I don't know if they had a moon, but that probably is already a bunch of good old geography.
Okay, what? Okay, but Okay, so oh god. Okay, so we have a time limit, obviously, a significant time limit on getting out of here. But so we really need to get. We need to figure out how to change the orbit of this planet. Have we done anything like this in the Federation to date?
No, that was also something that was not attempted until the next generation.
Okay.
And even then, it was something that
Okay, I'm
required
already.
it. If I recall the episode correctly, it was something that was like a plan in years in motion that they saw this coming, and that they
Okay.
constructed like some things like they couldn't construct it on the ship. Like the Enterprise literally brought the material and technology with them from a starbase to do this.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay. I already have an incredibly stupid idea, and I'm already labeling it Project Patrick Star.
Oh God.
Oh, here we go.
I already have an idea, and it involves starfish.
How did I know that?
It's the worst idea. But what we
Yes.
do is we build a really big graviton bomb out of the starfish, and we detonate it in the opposite direction from the where they're going towards, in order to cause like an equal pull in the opposite direction, so that they're able to restabilize the orbit. It's kind of
what?
like it's like we're pushing it in the other direction
So you're
by
basically
creating like a gravitational pull.
setting off a bomb to try to change the planet's orbit.
Okay.
Well, you see, what we're doing is we're blowing up a bomb like very far away from the planet on the other side. It's kind of like they're being pulled towards the sun, so we pull it towards the
Okay.
gravitational
Well,
well, which would cause it to
yeah, we'd
bounce
have to
out.
be able to create a gravitational well, and
We
it
can't.
would. I mean, what is okay? Is the orbital okay? This the speed that the planet is orbiting,
Hmm.
the actual speed that it's moving around the star, is a major factor in this calculation. So, um, how was that affected by the transport? Like, because it sounds to me like
Well, the planet did not come through at the same speed at which its original orbit was. It came through at the same speed that the wormhole pulled it through. So it's not
right.
the same speed as it was before.
All right, so something is slowing it down, which is unusual because in space there's not really enough material to slow a planet's orbit except for gravity. Is this
Well,
star
no,
more massive than their normal star?
what happened is the orbit was completely changed because the planet started moving in a different direction when it was pulled through the wormhole. So the speed that it's
Okay.
currently at was dictated by the pull of the wormhole, not by its original
Okay.
orbit.
Right. Okay.
And
So
it
we
just
use
so happens that it
graviton
appears that
bombs
that
to
speed
push it
is
somewhere else.
it appears that the speed at which it came through is not fast enough to sustain the orbit.
Okay. So the speed that the wormhole set it on is too slow. Um, okay. All right, so we can start. I guess. Okay, so we have a very limited amount of time in which to find a solution or get everyone off the planet, basically.
Or get the planet
Um,
back to our galaxy, yes.
yeah, well, that would be one of the solutions. But even that, we have to be able to launch it into its original orbit at its original orbital speed, which means that the wormhole has to be significantly adjusted. If that's what slowed it down. Because if it just shoots it through the way that it just did, then it's going to just have a decaying orbit in its home system.
So I feel like the narratively correct answer is to make a wormhole to suck it back through in the 6 months time span before they all die. Um, But I would say we strap jet thrusters to the planet, and we make it push in the opposite direction.
Well, okay. If we can, okay. If we can if we can figure out the wormhole well enough to give Teyvar a short burst, just a short burst that will speed it up and put it onto a stable orbit, that would serve as proof of concept that would enable us to be moving in the direction of getting the wormhole to do what we want it to do.
Are you
So,
suggesting we test wormhole physics on an entire planet worth of people?
I'm saying that
That doesn't sound much better than my idea of launching a
okay,
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 instead of losing a graviton bomb, let's activate highly unstable wormhole technology on the planet we're trying to save.
okay.
I'm
So
not
the
disagreeing.
answer,
I'm just
the
saying I
an-
feel like everyone says my idea is crazy, but no one. Okay.
listen. One, the answer to your question is kind of yes.
Okay.
But phrasing is important.
I'm just more honest with how I say it. That's the.
I, my suggestion, and I'm not a resident astrophysicist, and so we want to lean more heavily on someone like Calvo for ideas here. But what occurs to me is that if we have one team, I think we need 3 teams realistically working on this. One to be figuring out the logistics of evacuating the planet if everything else fails. One team working on stabilizing their orbit using whatever we have around to do that. Just 24 hours a day, just crunching at that. And another team, shut up. And another team focused if we can get the wormhole to work, then we can use it to stabilize the orbit, and that will essentially the data we get from that should be able to get us what we need to make it do what we want to get us home.
Hey.
Operation Triple Check.
That's what occurred. That's what seems that seems like the best option to me. But again, we want to lean on some other.
So
We
to
definitely want to
summarize,
input.
we test the wormhole concept to maybe try all the other options. Step 3, evacuate. If worst comes to worst, like in sequence of if previous fails, try next. Is that it?
It's possible, yeah. I mean, if we can figure out how to evacuate the planet before we try the wormhole test, we might want to. Just not have people stand around on the planet during the wormhole test, just in case.
I mean,
But
I mean, yeah, we just need to get them off planet. We definitely just need to get them off planet. We don't need to like keep them there because we can just either relocate them to another planet or put them back on the planet after whatever occurs with the wormhole.
Yeah, well, I mean,
assuming the
the
planet was
problem.
completely destroyed,
So the problem with wormhole tech is that we don't.
ripping space time.
Okay, the problem with. No. Okay, we don't test it on Teyvar. We don't test the wormhole tech on Teyvar. We take an uninhabited planet and we slingshot it into a position where its gravitational pull will pull Teyvar into a more stable orbit.
So the graviton bomb thing, but we slingshot a planet.
Yes, and that we use that to test the wormhole tech. And no one is endangered because no one's on that planet. It's an uninhabitable planet.
I think, okay, the only caveat, and I think this is a good plan. We need to have enough, whatever it was called.
It'll work like a
Because
shepherd moon.
they're going to burn out, like, after one test, I imagine. That's just my guess. We need extra.
Well, Denzite doesn't
Denzite.
burn out unless something goes wrong. They've had some
Okay.
circuits that lasted for like 6 or 7
The reason
tests.
I was asking is because we're doing it on a planetary scale,
Yeah.
so we're
So
like
there-
slingshotting it. I just assumed.
Yeah, so basically what I'm playing with is there's these things called shepherd moons, which are you'll see this in Saturn especially, and Jupiter, where there are moons in specific places where because of their mass and because of their location, they even out and they keep other things in place. That's how the Saturn's rings are kept in place, is through shepherd's moons. But there are some moons in I think Jupiter's orbit that are also held in place that way. So if we use a planet that is sized properly to shepherd Teyvar,
We're gonna
then
slingshot a moon into orbit.
no, we're gonna teleport a moon into orbit
That I
using
like
a
that
wormhole.
plan. I like that plan a lot.
God.
Operation New Moon.
And their tides are gonna be all kinds of screwed up. But
I mean, to be fair, like I mean, people say the effects of like getting rid of the moon is really bad, but they never say that there's anything bad about adding an extra moon.
Oh, there would be. It depends on its mass, though.
Okay.
But
can you imagine having 2 low tides?
but this isn't the moon. This is going to be a shepherd planet. It'll have similar effects on Teyvar as far as witnessing on the planet. It'll have similar effects to but it'll have similar effects to life on Teyvar that Jupiter has to life on Earth. Like you almost never notice what Jupiter's actually doing to our tides and stuff like that, but it is. It is actually holding us in place to a certain degree. And so if we do something like that with a planet that is sized properly and we figure out the right placement, we can test the wormhole tech by seeing if we can put it into place in the right speed to stabilize Teyvar's orbit. And if that test is successful, then we have proven that we've advanced the technology enough that we can start exploring going home.
Well, let's call them right now and tell them.
If it's not successful, there's a good chance we're going to create an asteroid field around this star. But that's why we use an uninhabited planet.
Operation Planetary Slingshot.
I don't know, Calvo. How does that sound? Like, does that sound? You might want to roll astrophysics to figure out what that sounds.
What? I could just see, like, I just imagine if this was said out loud, like Sorab was saying this, all the people on Teyvar, physicists, just looking at him like, what is he thinking? They're like just sweating profusely.
I think we just lost Tripper though.
No, I think
Or
we
I did.
lost you.
That's you, Tim. You
There we
like
go.
blinked out for a second.
Oh, it was me.
Yes. Always
Okay.
finger pointing. Tisk, tisk, tisk. No.
Well, because I could still see Chris, so I thought.
Yeah, I never lost you.
Oh, well, there you go. See.
I didn't lose Chris or I don't know. Weird. It's Ohio. Let's just
Tim
blame
did like a
Ohio and leave
freeze
it at that.
frame.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's Ohio. Oh, okay. Where was I going?
You were talking about people reacting to hearing this.
Right. So what was said or how much of this was said actually where the Archons could see this?
I mean, this is probably all just. I probably said all of it, but I did also say like that this was a threefold plan. We had another team working on a more viable idea. That we would have another team working on a more viable idea. I would like to point that out.
Yes. My plan is we do the same thing, but just with a big gravity bomb. If the planetary slingshot doesn't work, we just use a big old bomb to do the same thing. You know, the redundancy is good.
The problem with the bomb is that it's a one-time thing. If the Shepherd planet thing works, then it'll be a constant.
I mean, what they say? If one bomb doesn't solve a problem, you didn't build enough bombs.
Oh, yeah.
I actually want to see that movie. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm indifferent to it. I want to see the Barbie movie though.
Let's watch Barbenheimer. Let's go ahead.
We're not doing a twofer.
It'll be a rabbit haberdashery outing. It'll be great.
Operation Barbenheimer.
what's actually going to happen is Kusanari, so the Archon of Sumera, the one that looks like a child, is going to come forward and say, "Do you have the scientific team to tackle all three of these at the same time?"
Not alone.
What do you mean? We can
We're
handle this on our own.
Well, I mean, we can do a lot of it, but I mean, I imagine that we would need. I mean, I imagine that Save Our Scientists are working on a plan already. So, and they're already. Uh, I believe Calvo, you not working on the wormhole with Terra too?
Yes.
So realistically, I mean, it's the logistics team to work out evacuation, and then really just better communication between the people that are already working on uh, uh, the wormhole and the people that are working on a different method for stabilizing your orbit. We would be
Kusanari.
our scientific team would basically be split into helping facilitate all of that.
What she is going to offer, Kusanari say, "Well, might I offer the services of our top astrophysicists? Because your facilities are going to be far better than ours, and I think we could help a lot more with you than we could down here with what's comparatively in the Stone Age."
Um, I'm going to turn to Crystal. This is your call, Captain.
He's
We
going to
should do it.
he's going to say, "How many are you thinking?" Kusanara will stop and think.
All of
I've
them.
got about 5,000 I could offer in the academy. I don't think your ship will hold them all, but I could probably give you the top 25. I think you could manage that.
The half our crew is dead. We can take like 200.
Does that?
I say this out
Yeah,
loud.
got a point.
Well, it's not quite.
Um,
It's not quite half. I actually looked it up. It was.
my God, it's
2/3,
okay.
It was 30% of the crew
30%.
was killed or incapacitated. So
So we can take like 100.
57 dead, 104 injured. Although some of those injured have come back to service. So yeah.
So we got plenty of bunks open, guys. Just take your pick. Don't mind the blood and viscera. You can just swipe. You
No,
suck that out.
we've had a janitorial team working on that for like a week.
I feel. I'm just imagining it now as you say that. Like that one guy who's just sweeping up bodies. He's like,
One guy with a
he
mop.
stops. He's like, Frank. Single tear rolls down his eye and keeps going though.
I don't even know what that was.
Poor guy.
That poor guy. That's Brian O'Miles' younger brother. That poor guy. Okay. So they have offered 25 of their brightest scientists, and well, Captain Crystal is going to say yes. I would imagine Matt would agree to it if he was here in person. I'm not going to try to force something out of character.
I think it's probably in character though.
We'll take your entire stock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so all 5,000? No.
Yes.
You'd have to get.
I don't.
You'd have to get rid of some of your alien corpses to fit all of them. So are you sure?
That's a tough deal. Mm.
Hard
All I'm saying is I highly doubt that any of those 5,000 like people that understand how planets work would want to be on this planet any longer than they have to.
Yeah, this actually sounds like a good deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, I know exactly what's going to happen in about 3 weeks, and I don't want to be here when it does.
Yeah.
I know how I'd handle Mad Max.
So that all is going to happen. Now, Balai, the Archon from Inazura, is going to chime in and say, "Our greatest concern now, then, if you have this situation hopefully in hand, is whether we inform our populace, because I can imagine that After all the destruction that's already happened from coming to this galaxy, which they already know about, uh, it's hard to hide that when all the stars look different. But I don't believe that it would be prudent at this point to inform the general populace, because I'm imagining complete societal collapse
I
and
mean,
riots.
if you're talking about decaying to the point where the planet becomes uninhabitable in 6 months, the sun is going to get visibly larger in the sky every day. There's a there's a hard limit to how long you can hide the fact that you know why.
You do make a good point.
I imagine. What was it like going through the wormhole? And was that just waved off as a mass hallucination, or did everyone?
Oh no, they know that we came to this galaxy.
Okay, so they're very much aware that they are in lots of danger.
Yes, but so far things have been kept orderly by the thought, okay, we're not in imminent danger of all dying. We're safe. We made it through. Now we just gotta wait. Now they're all
Now,
in imminent danger of dying.
the Genesis project was classified, right?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
You know it something happened, but
Right.
what it was, that's not.
Yeah.
You're not read into that.
Yeah. So we don't know that there's a way that we can make a planet suitable for them. Okay.
Yeah, and considering that Dr. Marcus is very much not there, yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Do we have any terraforming technology? Actually, I can make some terraforming
Well,
technology.
I mean, because Federation has already had terraforming technology. The Genesis project was just taking a dead planet and making it livable very quickly, if I understand correctly.
Yes.
Is there
Which
any
would be
planets-
super handy.
I actually, yeah, Project C. I'm gonna work on a very. It's not a perfect plan, and it's a very I forget. Schrodinger. No. I forget that Rick and Morty episode was. Basically, I'm gonna make a meat monster, but it's not the one you think. Okay. Just hear me out. Hear me out. We look for a planet that has a high concentration of a certain chemical in the atmosphere. What I do is I create a self-propagating meat that survives off of that chemical and produces oxygen in its place. So we have
why would we use meat? Why wouldn't we use plants? Plants is much more suitable for that.
Well, the thing is, we use a breathing meat, so they now have a source of oxygen and food.
Doesn't meat create carbon dioxide and take
Not
in
this
oxygen?
meat. This is a special meat. I could try plants. But I'm just saying, more food, you know?
I mean, it really depends on what the chemical process is, like what they would release.
There's a fine line between science fiction and science bullshit, and you have definitely crossed that
Time
line.
traveling moss is canon. Meat, like air producing meat creatures, or that's where we. Okay.
I'm just saying, I have biochemistry and botany. If you need a little bit of help.
Okay. Fine. If I can't turn everything into a weird meat creature or monster, we can just make plant monsters. Is that like a super? Okay.
I mean, a moss. It doesn't have to be a monster. Why are you going to monster?
Because
what's going on in your Frankensteinian brain? We could just do moss. Like cover the planet in lichens.
Fish had a very bad childhood. Okay.
That excuse doesn't always work.
I feel like it makes it better without context.
He's like, you know what we need is a monster. It's like, we're trying to figure out lunch, dude. Okay.
It's not a monster. It's just like it's just.
You literally said monster.
I meant in like a metaphorical sense, like an aesthetically unpleasing monstrosity, like when a fashion designer says that, oh my gosh, you're hideous, but they're just talking about your fashion.
That's what hideous is. Okay. I just think if we're going in this direction, a plant would be more efficient.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but you're on board for making a super terraforming plant, synthetic plant.
I mean, it's well outside of my wheelhouse to give you approval for this. I'm just saying.
I do have
if you're going in this direction.
I have a 10 in astrobotany, and with your help, we can do this.
My 14 in botany. Yeah, we'll bring the
Botany, I mean,
I'm
if
thinking
you
of
do a
Fury.
roll and you pass it and you give me a 15% buff, I'm just saying.
That's true.
Okay, I'm gonna. Can we?
Agriculture. I
Here,
was a farmer for the first 15 years of my life, so I have
I'm
points in
just
agriculture.
Tripper. Can we please make can we make a Genesis bomb?
Whoa, how did we get to Genesis bomb from that?
Yeah, Genesis.
Okay, plant.
You know,
Genesis. No. There's like 80 steps in between.
no, I'm just saying what we do is we make an aggressively propagating synthetic plant life form that we drop on a planet, and it's a more metaphorical air quote bomb because we're like expecting an explosive result.
So kudzu.
Oh, I can tell you from being in Georgia enough, that's a bad idea.
Okay, we're making a super plant. This could not possibly go wrong. Can we do this right now? I have Tim. Tim wants to do this with me. I've never gotten Tim's approval for
I
anything.
don't think he
think
really
That's-
wants to.
I mean, I'm not opposed.
That's close enough.
Yay!
I think a plant-based solution to speed up terraforming is worth exploring
Okay, so
as part of the evacuation plan.
me through exactly what it is you're attempting to do.
So
Okay.
basically, okay. So first off, we locate a planet. Is there any? Can we just like do a quick scan for any suitable planets within a relatively close distance, like that are stable-ish?
All right.
But
So
you don't
it
have
needs.
to be like, you know.
So it needs to be a rocky planet. It needs to have a gravity within like somewhere in the range of like depending on how adaptable the Tevarans are, somewhere between like 85 to 120%
Okay, so
of Tevar's gravity, and it needs to have an atmosphere that we can exploit for this purpose.
Yeah, but if the atmosphere is toxic or whatever,
Did they do
that's
this
what
in the animated series?
That's what the plant's for. It's gonna basically terramorph the atmosphere at bare minimum.
okay, so there are there's no other planets in this system because this is just Teyvar and space dust. Terra 2, their sun, there are 5 planets, 3 of which are gaseous and one of which is, think, Venus. It's like really close to it's hot. The nearest, looking at the map, the nearest solar system is 19 light years away. And that's going to be going up.
So
That's not so bad.
And the thing is, we don't need to teleport them all at once. What we do is we just get them into space, and assuming all else fails, we just transport them like gradually, and with whatever supplies they have like on their ships, which should be able to last them until we can finish transferring them all.
Now you don't know what from this distance. You cannot tell what planets. You're just having to go off the map. You can't. You don't have a scan distance.
I mean, we could take just a
Well-
gas planet and then just like again let the actual plant matter turn into the.
Well, no, it has to be a rocky planet. It can't be a gas giant. But we can see what the atmospheric composition is to all of those planets from here. That's easy. That's just a spectral analysis.
One thing that you do know is that if there
We do
was
that
a
now.
habitable planet, the Cochrans would have absolutely colonized it.
Well, it's not habitable. It's
No,
just
yeah,
a matter
we're
of does it
looking
have
usable.
does it have well no does the atmosphere have a chemical composition that we can use in a chemical reaction to produce oxygen?
I will. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So basically,
That's the question.
It's simple. All we have to do is make the plant be able to break down and reconstruct that on an atomic scale. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Like I don't care what the atmosphere is currently, as long as there's an oxide in it.
Good old poison planet, but we can work
ideally, yeah. So an oxide, and it would be is Tevar's atmosphere similar to Earth's?
Yes.
All right. So ideally, it would also have some nitrogen we can produce in this process, but like whatever, we can sort that out
make
later.
it synthetically. It'll be all good.
Yeah, that's the question: is does a spectral analysis really reveal any planet that meets those size criteria? That's a rocky planet that is within that size range, that is in the habitable zone of its star, so close enough that the temperature on it can sustain multi stages of all three phases of water, and has an oxide in the atmosphere.
Okay. Well, you don't have any data saying one way or the other. Literally, the only reason you know that planet or that exists is you see there's a star on the chart, but there's no data whatsoever on what planets it does or doesn't have. It's not even named by the chart.
Can we?
Right, but what I'm saying is if we point calculating its size, I mean everything that I'm asking for is something that we can do right now in the real world
Can we
and
make
do
rules for it? Right.
on planets.
Well, the roles are going to be to determine whether or not such a planet exists, because I'm going to let luck decide that.
Okay.
Because I didn't plan that, so this is we're just going to see whether it works out.
Luck, you say? Can I roll?
I feel like this is life threatening for the entire planet.
This is literally a life-threatening
It
planetary
is
roll
life or death for
for
an entire culture.
planet's. Yeah.
So you're not going to make that roll until you get there, though.
Get
All
where?
right.
We can scan it from here.
No, not 19 light years.
Yeah. We know the atmospheric composition of planets that are like 30 light years away right now.
We just need the rotational lens.
Literally all it is we look at this we look at the light passing through its atmosphere and check the spectrum for black marks, for black lines.
All right.
And we're in sci-fi world, so that's like times 100 our ability.
Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to roll a d5 to see how many planets there are.
5, God. Okay.
5,000. That's what it is.
Yeah. He's gonna multiply by 1,000.
4. There are 4 planets.
That's good.
Okay. We're getting
Alright.
in the right direction here.
Now let's see. How many of them are in a habitable zone? I'm trying to think how to make this a fair roll. Because the habitable zone is not big. It really
That depends. That depends on the size of the star.
We just needed
Well,
Genesis.
it depends on the heat output of the star and size of it.
Right, but in any case, it's still not that far in either direction.
Yeah.
Okay. So, gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
The actual manuals have a way of rolling planets that I have never used. That probably has something there I could use. Let me look that real quick. Doing things today I never expected I'd have to do.
I already have my Oppenheimer line for if this works out.
Oh God.
Thank you for stealing my line, Tim.
I am become life, creator of Gaia.
I don't know what to make of that statement. Okay, we'll just let it go.
I am become death, destroyer of the worlds. I am become life, creator of Gaia. And then it's not going to work. And then it's just going to be, well, we got a weird seed.
Okay, no, this one, no, it's assuming you're starting with a class M habitable planet, so that doesn't help me. Never mind. That's for like randomly
We can
generating
use that.
attributes for the planet.
We can use it.
No, because this wouldn't be a class M planet. Class M
Yeah.
planet is one that's already habitable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So, hold on a second.
All right.
How to calculate the habitable zone of a star?
All right. So basically, what we're gonna do is we are gonna come up with a percentage chance, and we get to roll it 4 times to see whether any of these 4 planets succeeds.
All right.
So you got 4 chances. So now we got to figure out how we're gonna figure that out.
Okay, so it is. Yeah, so hot, luminous stars have a large, wide habitable zone, while dim stars have small, thin light habitable zones. So
Now, looking at the map, this star is on the smaller side compared to some of the others. It's about the same size as the one that Terra 2 has, and the one that Terra 2 has is slightly smaller than the sun. So,
right.
what's the habitable zone for our sun?
It comes, its inner ring is just outside of Venus's orbit, and its outer edge is just inside of Mars's orbit.
I mean, Mars was theoretically habitable a while ago, so
Right. Okay, so for this planet is going to have about 90% of that size.
Okay.
so we have a 90% chance of succeeding.
No, that's not what that means.
Worth a shot.
That means we're going to determine what I'm thinking. You can, if you got a better suggestion, I'm open to it. But I'm think what's the closest planet, what's the farthest planet, what percentage of that is habitable?
Well, if there's 4 planets within and they're assuming are they lined up, or are they kind of like classic solar system style?
Well, they have different speeds. Of orbit.
Yeah.
It's not like they're all equally. But we're just measuring the narrowest orbit, farthest out orbit, and what fraction of that is habitable, and we're going to go from there.
I mean, if I was just giving the most bare bones, like random number, I would say 25% chance.
All right, hold on a second.
We're going to go a little more scientific. All right.
The habitable zone of
Science would be like 1 in 400,000 chance of a planet being able to sustain life. 1 in 3 billion chance of life being created.
All right, so.
Speaking of habitable planets, I'm gonna go run and grab some water real quick. I'll be able to hear you guys. Communicators on.
All right, so it's roughly the habitable zone of the sun is roughly point. Well, no, what was it? Yeah, 0.42 astronomical units.
I have no idea how big an astronomical unit is.
It's the distance. It's 8 minutes, 8 light minutes, roughly. It's about the size of. It's about the distance of Earth to the sun.
Okay.
You know, if we used meat, we could have it produce its own heat, so we could pick a colder planet in order to supplement. But you see where. But if you think about it, like from a scientific perspective, the energy generated could make a heat.
So,
All right, I'm looking at something right now that's going in miles. That the Earth is 93 million miles from the sun.
Yeah.
So that's a good benchmark.
I'm getting the
so
feeling
realistically,
yeah.
All right, so if we're calculating, all right, hold on a second. How many? Let me see something here real quick.
Math. Yay.
Should we factor in Trek logic, where it's the whole idea that in Star Trek there's tons of alien civilizations and livable planets, probably far more than that are actually in our universe?
Okay. So,
Not for this reason.
Okay.
So in the region, in the zone. Okay, so there's no. We don't have in the solar system of our solar system. We don't have any planets that are relatively Earth-sized past Neptune.
Okay.
The gravitational power of the sun, we can, and basically every solar system is like they have some stuff spread out or close or whatever. But if we assume, and this is an assumption, if we assume that that's because the gravitational strength of the sun won't keep something like that in a stable orbit past that point, then we can calculate the range, the percent of that distance that is in the habitable zone. So, okay, so assuming that no planets Earth size are going to exist outside of Neptune's distance, which is about 30 AUs from the sun, then the of those 30 AUs, 0.42 AUs are the habitable zone, which means it's a little bit below like 1 in 60 chance of a planetary orbit being in the habitable zone.
Okay.
So, well, actually, I can.
That's definitely not exactly
71.
how I was
So
getting
1 in
there.
71.
That's a
If we,
similar. It's similar-ish to
that
how I was
is,
getting there, but yeah, yeah,
that's roughly a 14% chance.
roughly a 14% chance.
So you would roll, essentially you would roll a percentage die against a DC of 14.
Yes, 4 times.
I think. Wait. Yeah, something like that.
So that means that 14% of that range is a habitable zone.
Roughly, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, well, 14. So that's basically you've
Can I
got a
get? I round you up to
56%.
15.
You got a 56% chance of this working.
Well, sort
Oh,
of. I mean,
nice.
that's assuming that that's making a lot of assumptions. Like, would rocky planets actually be that far out? We could justify shrinking the initial distance based on where rocky planets tend to show up, because they don't tend to show up in the outer solar system. But that's probably because of the gas giants ejecting them, and not because they don't form there. But most of the heavier stuff does come to the center. So I think the odds should be slightly better than that, just because of how likely rocky planets are to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we could theoretically like double that, make
All
it
right. So then you found
28%.
4 rocky planets. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's because that's what we were looking for. So so I think realistically we should be able to double that somewhere in the range of 28%.
Let's say 25 per.
Okay,
So it is a 1 in 4. I was
as it happens, yeah.
like,
Yes.
it's like I think we should do a 25% chance. Oh no, let's do the math on this one.
Shut
Okay,
up.
so
Shut
25%
up.
is like okay.
So get to roll against the 25 4 times. Okay, so now this is the question though is whether it's in the habitable zone. The next question is about atmosphere. We haven't even gotten there yet. So this is
Yeah.
there's a lot of steps here. So all right, who is let's see, I'm not even Chris, you're back. Roll we're trying to beat a 25. So roll us 4 times.
Oh boy. D100.
Yes, D100.
Hey!
Yeah!
All right.
Yeah!
Say their times because we may have multiple.
Oh,
That'd be nice. Multiple attempts at Genesis bombing. That's nice.
No,
Ah.
no, and no.
Hmm.
All right, so
Okay.
you have one that is right at the edge of the habitable zone, like on the colder edge of it.
That's fine. They'll bundle up.
All right, so now what's the
Cheaters.
next thing? So
Get a
the
little bit of
habitable zone.
greenhouse effect going on, it'll be fine.
Right. So just because it's in the habitable zone does not guarantee it has the proper atmosphere. Correct.
Right. Yeah, we need something with an oxide.
All right. Now, what are the
We
odds of
need-
that?
actually, if it's in that range, pretty good.
Okay.
Um, free oxygen would show that it already has life on it, but oxygen is highly reactive. And so if there's any oxygen that has ever been on that planet, it's going to be in an oxide now.
Which is why mine
And
is rust. Right.
yeah, so there's actually a really good chance, I should think, of oxygen being there.
All right, throw me a ballpark. What percent?
99.
Shut up.
I mean, well, that's the thing is that like there are oxides on all 4 rocky planets in our solar system.
Okay.
So like, and there are oxides in some of our gas giants too. So like, yeah, it almost seems like it would be unlikely for there to not be any at all.
90%?
Like, I think okay. I think more realistically, what we're calculating is if there are enough oxides in the atmosphere to be useful for us. And that,
fair.
I think that number can be closer to like a 70, 75.
All right, let's do a 70 then. All right, which one of you 3 wants to do it?
I'll let the fish take it this time. I feel like I've hit my luck limit.
I don't want to be put on the spot.
Wasn't it his
I mean-
idea?
It was my number. I can roll it.
All right.
Oh, he's typing.
He's typing.
You want me to do it? Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I gotta type it in anyways because I just r/1d100
It's /R. It's not Reddit.
slash.
It's not Reddit.
Dang it, Reddit.
Reddit moment. We don't want those here.
Copy. There you go. Yeah.
All right.
Hey!
There is a good amount of oxides on the
Critical
planet.
success, but not.
All right. So the next question is what are those oxides paired with?
Oh, okay.
What's the most common thing?
I-
Is it nitrous oxide? Is it a speed planet? Is it
Can-
carbon dioxide? Is it
Okay.
sulfur oxide?
Okay.
Can I be like the one that breaks? Like, can we just say it's fine? Like just say like we're making a space bomb to terraform an entire planet.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
feel like we've already done so many like highly
Yeah.
statistical things. I feel like we don't.
No,
really
this was
need to go
more of
with-
a question for flavor.
Yes,
Okay,
this is
flavor
pretty
text.
question for
That's
flavor.
very
Okay, I'm
reasonable.
looking. How many different kinds of oxides are there? We're gonna roll that number dice and whatever comes
Oh
up.
my goodness. So
Okay,
many.
I'm looking at a list that's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
It tastes
19
like pink
different. 19.
raspberry.
That's good enough for me. I'm gonna roll of D19.
You just roll a d20 in which the 20 is rolled twice.
Number 17. Magnesium oxide. What can I learn about magnesium oxide?
Okay, so the important thing is that the plant we're going to create takes in magnesium oxide and uses magnesium for its energy producing process and then releases oxygen. That's the important thing.
It is a supplement often used to treat migraines and constipation.
Yeah. It's also highly flammable. So these plants are going to burn easy.
Huh, it almost sounds like meat wasn't the worst idea.
Well, I mean, the meat would also burn easy because it would have to use magnesium.
But
to
if you
break
make
down.
it highly heat-resistant meat, like certain sorts of,
I don't think you can
resistance-
if it's powered off magnesium. Like no matter what you do, it's just gonna if it comes in contact with fire, it will burn.
I mean, that's normal. Well, I mean,
Anyway, that's just flavor text. That's interesting to know. Is hey, don't go lighting too many fires on Teyvar because the plant life will all die.
let's just say
Forest
that
fires in Teyvar will be horrendous
No,
if
we're
we're
talking
on the
about
planet.
Teyvar. We're talking
Yeah,
about
no.
the other planet.
Forest fires on Teyvar 2 will be horrendous if it happens.
dang it, we have 2 T2s.
Teyvar the second. Teyvar
Two,
Junior.
Teyvar Junior.
Teyvar 2. This is T2 Junior. That's what.
Okay. Oh my god, that was a brain.
Maybe. Okay. It's time
Ugh.
to start cloning unethically.
What?
Okay.
Well, fun fact is you've only figured out there's a planet. You haven't even figured out whether you could even make the plant thing.
I
yet.
know. That's what I was like.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You know, if we did all this work and your first roll is just a straight botch, and I'm just gonna be like, well, there's an hour of my life.
So help me. Someone put a gun to my head so I can roll that 99.
There's a star. There's a star about to consume an entire planet. I feel like
But
that's.
if I stand on Teyvar and make the roll, can I take my combat advantage? Can I just like avoid using? Can I like just rip off my shirt, don't put on sunscreen, and just make like?
I feel like that's called metagaming.
They just have the best facilities. I'm sorry. So
They really don't. Most of their facilities are like broken right now. Because they had like a planet-wide earthquake 6 days ago, so things are a little messed up.
I'm just saying, if he can use Botany and Luck, he's rolling it to 55, and that's not bad.
All right, but okay,
Slightly
so
worse than his intelligence, yeah.
so how are we doing this? Can we set up? So I go over to Sorab and it's like, hey, I got a plan.
Okay, hold
Do
on.
you
I
wanna
need a
help me
second to get my. I gotta all the planet stuff. My brain is still like, gee.
Oh yeah.
You say that, but I was the one figuring most of it out. But all
I'm
right.
the one trying to understand it and try to put it into a roll. So I had to
Okay,
understand
fine.
it whether I wanted to or not.
All right. So if I do Botany and Intellect, I'm rolling it to 39,
Okay,
and that would be to assist him.
correct. All right, so let's. All right, give me 1 second. Let me take headphones off.
Or I could do if I do biochemistry, it's functionally the same because there's only a 1 point difference between them.
You could do both rolls and see which one works because they're technically different routes.
And agriculture is slightly lower. So yeah.
It would be the difference between making. Could we do two? One to make a plant that produces oxygen, and one to make a plant that produces oxygen and a consumable crop for food.
Mm.
Could we do that?
I feel
Yeah,
like
the second one would be agriculture.
Yeah.
I feel
'Cause
like
they're different.
agriculture is one step above botany scientifically. But think this way: you've got to understand how the plant works in the first place before you then begin to understand how to cultivate it. So you've got to designing the plant is botany. Agriculture is then farming the plant once it's made.
Yeah.
Okay. That is fair.
So 39 and 37.
All right. So what exact? So for flavor, what exactly are you doing?
Okay. So Sorab, brain hurty, but okay. So Sorab,
Yes.
I think when you talked about throwing planets, maybe instead of if all else fails, and if we instead of if the throwing planets fails, we can make a new planet. And what we can do, yes.
No, go ahead.
Let's say, and how this would be done is we make a highly explosive, like an explosively producing plant life form that can effectively terraform a suitable planet.
Okay. I mean, we might want to just do that anyway.
Hmm?
I mean, if we had the ability to do that, that would be a heck of a negotiating tool. Like honestly, if that's on the table, we might as well just do it. And if we don't use it, we can negotiate with it.
And if it worse comes to worse, someone could use it as a weapon. I'm not saying we would, but I'm just saying.
We're not going to include that in the brief. How about that?
Yeah, I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, Terra 2 hasn't been very nice to us. I'll leave it with that. Anyways, so about making this very ethical invention.
Okay.
Okay, so how did you want to go about it? Did you want to use pre-existing plants, or did you want to just splice up our own from scratch?
I mean, okay. Okay, so first of all, is this happening during the meeting? Like, are we finished with the meeting?
This is going to have to be happening later, yeah.
Okay.
Honestly,
so
everything that just happened as far as researching that planet had to have happened later. So
Yeah. Okay.
I guess let's just
So
continue from here. We
yeah.
want to. That conversation wasn't over, but we're on this road. Let's just finish it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we have a planet identified.
Yes.
That's not how this whole This would have been part of one larger conversation. You would have
Yeah.
understood. You're finding a planet in order to do this. So it's not like we
Okay.
found a planet. Oh, hey, here's what we do with it. No, this is
Don't worry. I found a guy who found a planet.
sure.
So we got
Okay.
it's perfectly suitable for life.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess I'm looking at the stats.
I
Well,
know that
if
you got a bit of
we
botany
needed to,
skills.
so we need to have it run off of. We need to have its photosynthesis rely on magnesium instead of carbon, and that means that we can, but I don't think
I know
we
just
can
how to
do
do it.
this. I don't think we can do this with any existing plants because we'd be replacing the entire chemical structure of DNA because that's a carbonic acid. We'd be replacing it with a magnesium based acid. So we're going to have to start from scratch, I think.
Okay. So I'm starting by just very reasonable. I'm gonna take broccoli and goat gene, and I'm gonna start from there. So what do you want to add into this bad boy?
I guess I should roll botany at this point,
A little bit of goat
right?
DNA.
Is
Okay.
that
Yes, botany. That works.
okay? To assist, I'm rolling against a 39. I had nothing of value to add to this.
All right. What are you rolling
Unless
against?
I roll biochemistry as a secondary attempt.
You know what? Sure, biochemistry.
Yay!
Because you're dealing with
All right,
magnesium.
that's gonna be the same
Ah,
roll, and it's gonna be also terrible.
nay.
Okay. All right. So
Let me
coinless.
mark those as things that I rolled though.
Yes.
Oh, dang. Okay.
All right. So that means for coinless, you are astro
I have very little
botany.
to contribute.
All right. So you're rolling coinless against a 45.
So I can't slip biomechanical engineering in there.
No.
If I made it meat, it would work.
No.
Okay, okay. If this fails, then I'll try to make the meat one.
Oh God.
Okay, so what was the roll of 40 something?
45.
Okay. Ah!
Hey!
All right.
I wanted the meat one.
I'm glad you didn't do the meat one because I didn't know how the hell I was gonna make that work. All right.
Okay.
So step one. This was developing the plant.
All right,
Step
I'm gonna roll.
two.
I'm gonna roll in agriculture real quick just to see if I can help figure out how to use the
Yes,
plant.
that
once it
actually
exists.
that's where I'm going with that.
Failure.
Step two is figuring out how to make the thing propagate, and that's the part two of the bomb. Which you made the thing,
okay.
yay. I mean,
It's very simple. I already have an idea. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna splice in some fungus DNA in there. So what it does is it creates spores that feed off of the the plant feeds off of the magnesium and oxygen in the environment. Then it produces spores that then feed off of more, and then eventually, when the planet's fully covered or it spreads out far enough, it starts consuming its own dead plants to maintain itself in a perpetual cycle.
why am I getting the Last of Us vibes?
Well, so the trick is to have it grow fast enough that it can create a breathable atmosphere in a reasonable amount of time for our purposes, but not so fast that it will overtake anything we drop on the planet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
But
Okay.
on the
So
plus
that's why
side,
I'm thinking. Well,
on the
that's why I'm
plus side,
thinking spores.
controlled burns will be pretty effective against it.
Yeah, that's yeah. Fire is its main weakness. Who knew? But but yeah, I'm just thinking if we use spores, we can do it similar to grass. Instead of it being like it grows really tall, and it just grows like close. It's kind of like 4-leaf clovers. What it'll
Well,
do is it'll create like a massive grass like blanket of small
no,
plantoids
we
using
don't. That's not
spores.
what we want. That's not what we want. We
What'd you
want
say?
algae.
We want algae.
Algae already produces algae on Earth produces oxygen at a rate that's, if I remember correctly, better than trees, and it's very simple, so it propagates very quickly.
Okay, so we want an algae-based, broccoli-based plant.
Right. Sure.
Just because I want them to be able to eat it too, and I don't think algae has
Well,
a
I
lot of
mean,
nutritional value.
no, it does. We can eat grain algae. It's actually a pretty useful staple.
Okay. I'm just gonna call it browgie because broccoli algae.
Okay.
Okay. So we've invented browgie. I'm gonna write that down in my personal notes.
I like
Next
elk
question.
ockley.
Is making it
Algockley.
Elk ockley.
That'll be what the British call it.
Gockley.
they'll love it. Put it on their toast
Algockley.
sandwiches.
God.
Oh boy. Okay. So we made El Gockley, was it?
Yes. So this is going to
Gockley.
be another 45, I believe, to see if you can make it propagate like you need it to.
Okay, just one. I just need to write.
Can I try to assist with agriculture again, because that involves the.
Well, that's what that last roll was.
Oh, I thought that was to figure out if we could, how to farm it. Okay.
Oh,
Like for
no,
like
no,
how to use it.
this was,
Okay.
well, it's the same thing as far as cultivating, farming it, all goes into propagating it.
Okay.
Same idea.
We made the
Cool.
Algockley. Algockley seeds.
Oh, is that Spider Gwen back there?
It is. Yep.
Okay.
Oh.
The glare shifted, and I was able to see more of the picture.
Yeah, I saw some random article about an artist that was doing like a limited run, and I like the Spider Gwen character.
Yeah, she's
So I was
cool.
like, oh, I'm like, I gotta check that, especially after like the Spider Verse. Discovered her in a video game and just sort of got like, oh, I like that alternate reality stuff.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, Coinless, are we ready to run for your Algockley?
Okay.
For your 45 to see if you can make it self-propagate.
No.
No. Unfortunately, you did not succeed in making it
I have
propagate
an
faster.
alternative solution.
What is this alternative solution? And if you say meat, I'm going to mute you.
It does not involve meat.
Okay. Does it involve sleekies? Because I will kick you.
Impossible Burgers.
It involves mass cloning.
Oh God! I'm listening.
So instead of making the broccoli be able to naturally mass produce itself, I invent a machine that can mass produce the algockley.
Well, I was gonna say, I thought you were shifting from using sexual reproduction to using asexual reproduction.
I mean, also I could attempt that. We could attempt that first, if that is something that can get a ballpark pass.
Basically, we're working with mitosis.
It's basically it's self-replicating
sort of.
instead of like reproducing through mates.
Yeah.
So that would require completely changing part of its fundamental structure.
So we'll make a second algockley.
Yes.
Algockley, super algockley.
Yes. Okay. Well then.
I can still work on the cloning machine.
All right, then yeah, let's. All right, so Tim, if you're gonna help with this, this is not agriculture. This is going back to biology of attempting to.
All right, so 39.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey.
Plus 15. All right. So that means that Coinless, you are attempting to beat a 60.
Nope.
Oh God.
Oh God.
That was a 1 in 100 chance of that happening. A 1 in 1,000? I don't know. I don't know. No, 1 in 100 to get.
Sim, we can't just declare that he was helping me.
It seems I'm cloning something here, but it's not the right thing.
If you'd have rolled 100, it would have tried to eat you.
Well, to be fair, that was super algockley. We still have normal algocley.
But it does.
Still there.
Yeah,
It just propagates slowly. It propagates too slowly.
Yeah. So
presumably, if it doesn't propagate at all, we failed to create a living thing.
So what I'm doing, so what I'm gonna make a machine that can mass-produce algoxylate. Like, you throw it on a planet, and it just starts shooting out algoxylate, and it, like, forcibly causes it to grow rapidly.
Okay. All right. So
It's like
this
a
then is
super farming tool,
this is
rather
going to be
than...
a three-way roll then with intelligence, biotechnology, and astrobotany.
What was that?
So that's 80 plus 99 plus 10 divided by
80
Is
plus...
there a role I can do to help him?
botany.
Okay, so 39 again. Yeah.
Okay, 63.
I see the kind of
Yes! algoxylate!
Okay, so you have made a machine that can replicate. And I hear a cat purring, and it's a sound of
So we have algoxylate seeds and the algoxylinator.
Oh, okay.
That's...
Now
yeah.
So it's gonna mass.
yes.
It's gonna mass plant.
Now this is a process that would have taken a few days. We've just
Right.
kind of skipped a whole bunch of stuff. So as the rest of the story moves forward, you guys will be working on that. This is going
Okay.
to take
Also, it's after 11. I should probably.
yes.
Yeah.
Let's see how long it takes though. Let's see. Both of you guys roll me a d7, and we're going to average those two numbers.
Not looking great.
All right. So
Hey,
it's gonna take
4.
That's pretty reasonable. They have 6 months, so...
So I will have to mark that you will get that finished because presently it is November 24th, so that will be finished on November 28th.
Thank you, Tim Sashura, for helping me. So now I can say I am become life, creator of Gaia, and it's canon. This is... I do like this shaking your hand firmly, like, well done. What we've done, we've become gods
That's
of
not
the
what
agricultural world, but
that's not
gods
what hit me,
nonetheless.
That's not gonna be included in the brief.
David. No.
Algoxylate.
All right. So that's a point for everyone. But speaking of briefs, hey Tim, why don't you brief everyone back at home about Extra Life?
So I won't do very long. But yeah, actually we do this channel is set up essentially to fundraise for Extra Life. Extra Life is a what did I just type? Oh, that was something else. Extra Life is a fundraiser that's part of the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals network, and every cent that you donate to one of our pages through that link that I just posted in the chat will go straight to the hospital. Now we did find out. Matt asked a little while ago. What actually happens is it goes to the Children's Miracle Network itself, and then is distributed to the hospital quarterly. So every 3 months, they get disbursements from all the donations. But every single cent that you donate does go to the hospital, and will arrive there at some point in the next 3 months. But yeah, they don't take a cut out of it. CMN raises money through other systems to pay for the actual network. But if you go to that link, you can get some more information. You can donate, and or you can sign up for Extra Life to support your local hospital. Here in this group right now, we are raising money for Buffalo, for Boston, and for Bay State, which is in Springfield, Mass. I don't remember, what's the Buffalo one called?
Oshai Children's Hospital.
Oshai Children's Hospital. Boston is just called Boston. Boston Children's Hospital. So yeah, help us help kids. Go ahead and donate there, and we will have various Extra Life specific events happening throughout the year, throughout the end of the year anyway. And I'm working on trying to get things to happen for that. That would be really cool, like giveaways or something that we can do. But we'll get to that in a bit. So, but yeah, that's what Extra Life is in a nutshell. It is us playing games to raise money for children's hospitals. That is the foundation of this entire channel's existence. And so we would really like it if you could help us help kids by donating.
All right. Well said as always. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for playing. Everyone have a good evening, and as always, Live long.
Live long and prosper. Well.